Tuesday, June 15th. And about 10 days ago, I had a rant about the hospital in Houston, the Methodist Hospital in Houston, that was requiring their employees to get vaccinated or be fired. And the employees made a big stink about that. And they said it was their right, they didn't have to get vaccinated, and they called upon the NUREMBERG Code to save their ass. The NUREMBERG Code defines what happened in the Holocaust and the experimentation that was done on the populations in the concentration camps. So the hospital employees were trying to hide behind the Nuremberg Code and behind their rights and that they wouldn't get vaccinated. And they took this case to court. They took it to court because everybody in this country sues. We sue like crazy. We are the most litigious society on the face of the earth. So right away something happens, you find a crack in the sidewalk and you sue. What would happen to people if when they lose the case, they had to pay a penalty for suing? What would happen? I don't know, but getting back to this. Well, the judge ruled that the hospital had every right to demand that these employees be vaccinated because the hospital has put the rights and the health of their patients ahead of the rights of their staff. And you know the funny thing about this? 75% of the people in this country agree with the hospital. That's a lot. When you consider that when we have elections and things, the margins are very slim, and it's 50-50 or 51-49 or something. But when 75% of the people in the country agree with the hospital over the employees, that's a big deal. That should not be dismissed. That means that most of the people in this country have their head on straight. The hospital made it very clear to the employees. We are in the business of saving lives. Imagine that. A hospital that's in the business of saving lives. And that's what they should be doing, saving lives. It's not in our business to worry about necessarily how the employees feel about the situation. Employee input is important. Don't get me wrong. There have been many cases in this country where the employees were right, and they offered an awful lot, and they helped companies grow. But this is not that kind of situation. This is a situation where the hospital's primary duty is to take care of their patients, to make sure that their patients survive. And this is a terrible time in this country. We still have many states that are nowhere near the situations that they should be in. States that have ignored in the beginning getting people vaccinated. So this is a bad example for the rest of the country, that a group of healthcare workers want to sue the hospital for doing what's right. And the hospital goes on to say, it's not only the patients, we're going to keep the staff safe too. And their families. What about the families of these patients and the families of the staff when the staff refuses to get vaccinated? This is not just about me and my body and the Nuremberg Code. This is about the lives of many people. Patients, staff, families, friends. So I agree 100% with the judge. And this nonsense bringing up the Nazi concentration camps, that's a far out reach. And that disturbs me, and it disturbs a lot of other people. So if you look at this country and the disarray that's just in, this is a miniature example of what goes on around here, because democracy is not an easy thing to manage. Democracy is a very difficult form of government because you have conflicting opinions and people do have rights. And sometimes you have to give up your rights in order to get stuff done. And so this is somehow or other in my mind a reflection of what's going on in this country and how we have people who are staunch Democrats and staunch Republicans, and they are not bending an inch. So maybe it's not such a big surprise that these hospital workers are acting the way they are, because certainly we're not giving the country a very great example of how democracy should work. Democracy is something that says we can all have our own opinions, but at some point we have to work together. And sometimes you have to take a hard line, like the hospital had to take a hard line. And sometimes governments have to take a hard line. And in this particular case, I think the hospital's 100% right. There's no room for compromise in their situation. Whereas our government should have some room for compromise and the ability to get things done when things need to get done. So I think the judge was right. I think 75% of the people in this country are right. All in all, I would say that it's a fair decision. In fact, I wish that there were many other organizations that would make decisions like that you have to be vaccinated in order to be in a room with other people somehow. That's not a terrible decision. Not if people are afraid. So I applaud the judge and I applaud the hospital for taking that stance. And we'll see what happens from here. So that's it for this morning. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.